Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is paying $200 for a shoe. Not a car, not a vacation, a shoe, with a little check mark on it, and they're happy about it. So how does that happen? How does a logo worth $35 end up on the most recognizable brand on the planet? Rewind to 1964. Two guys, $1,200, and a dream so small they were literally selling sneakers out of a car trunk. No investors, no headquarters, no marketing team, just a retired track coach who couldn't stop tinkering and a stubborn accountant who couldn't stop believing. Between them, they built something worth $182 billion. So who were these guys? And how close did they come to losing everything before any of us ever heard the word Nike? Phil Knight grew up in Portland, Oregon. Quiet kid, ran track at the University of Oregon. He wasn't the fastest guy on the team, but he was obsessive. He studied every detail, the times, the splits, the shoes, especially the shoes. His coach, Bill Bowerman, had that same obsession. Bowerman was legendary in Oregon. He coached 31 Olympic athletes. He won national championships. He also had a habit of taking his runners' shoes apart the moment they walked into practice. Not to ruin them, to fix them. He'd stitch them back together lighter, tighter, better. He believed a bad shoe could ruin a great runner. He was probably right. These two men weren't just coach and athlete. They were the same kind of crazy, just differently shaped. Knight went to Stanford for his MBA. Brilliant move. He wrote a paper there that basically predicted Nike before Nike existed. His argument was simple. German companies like Adidas dominated the running shoe market. Their shoes were expensive. Japanese manufacturing was cheaper and just as good. So why not build a better shoe in Japan and sell it to American runners? His professor gave him a decent grade and moved on. Knight could not move on. He flew to Japan, walked into the offices of Onitsuka, the company that made Tiger running shoes. He had no company. He had no business card. He made one up on the spot, Blue Ribbon Sports. He shook their hand. They shook back. He flew home with sample shoes and a distribution deal. That paper just became a company. Back in Oregon, Knight showed the samples to Bowerman. Bowerman held one up, turned it over, squeezed the sole, and said he was in. 50-50 split. Each man put in $500. Blue Ribbon Sports was born with $1,000 and a whole lot of nerve. Knight loaded Tigers into the back of his Plymouth Valiant and drove to track meets. He popped the trunk. Athletes would crowd around. He sold out every pair. Word spread fast. Runners told others. He mailed shoes from his parents' basement. Sales doubled, then tripled. His first year, he moved $8,000 worth of shoes. For perspective, that's more than most people expected from a guy selling sneakers out of a station wagon. Not bad for a man with no storefront and no staff. By 1965, they hired their first employee, Jeff Johnson, a runner. Obsessive naturally. Johnson didn't just sell shoes. He wrote personal letters to every customer, knew their names, their race times, their injuries. He was basically running a one-man fan club for a brand that barely existed. He also suggested calling the company Nike, after the Greek goddess of victory. Knight wasn't sure at first. He wanted something else. And the name stuck. Then came the logo. A design student named Carolyn Davidson was paid $35 to sketch something. She handed them the script. Knight looked at it and said he didn't love it, but he figured he'd get used to it. He got used to it. Everybody got used to it. Meanwhile, Bowerman was in his garage destroying shoes. Seriously, he was obsessed with weight. Every extra ounce cost a runner energy. He tried new materials, new soles, new stitching. He sent redesigns to Onitsuka. Some they used, some they ignored. Then one morning in 1971, his wife made waffles. Bowerman stared at the waffle iron, and then he poured rubber into it. His wife was not thrilled. The iron was ruined. But what came out was revolutionary. A waffle-patterned sole that gripped the track without adding weight. The waffle trainer launched in 1974 and exploded. Runners loved it. Revenue hit $10 million by 1977. The waffle iron in Bowerman's garage had just outpaced every shoe company that had dismissed them. But things weren't smooth. Onitsuka Tiger was growing suspicious. Blue Ribbon Sports was selling their shoes and getting very good at it. Too good. Onitsuka started negotiating with other American distributors behind Knight's back. Knight found out. He was furious. The company he had built on their product was about to be cut out. So he made the only move he could. He stopped being their distributor and started being their competitor. Nike launched its first in-house shoe line at the 1972 U.S. Olympic trials, right in Onitsuka's face. Bold? Absolutely. Suicidal? Almost. The gamble worked. Nike's own shoes sold well enough to keep the lights on, and they never looked back. Going independent meant everything had to be funded. Production, marketing, salaries. Knight scraped together loans from every bank willing to talk to him. Most weren't. He got rejected constantly. His company was growing fast, but on paper it looked terrifying. Debt piled up. There were moments when payroll was in question, when shipments were held at customs, when the whole thing could have collapsed quietly and nobody would have blamed him. Bowerman was still in the garage, still improving soles, still mailing hand-stitched prototypes to runners. That obsession kept the product alive when the finances tried to kill the company. They went public in 1980. Nike raised enough capital to breathe. Sales that year hit $269 million. The survival phase was over. Nike was winning the running market. By 1979, they held roughly half of all running shoe sales in America. Half, in 15 years, from a car trunk. But then Reebok happened. Aerobics exploded in the early 80s. Women in leg warmers wanted soft, flexible shoes. Reebok had them. Nike didn't. Reebok overtook Nike as the top athletic shoe brand in America. Knight stared at the numbers. Reebok. Reebok of all companies. He needed a new market. Basketball was growing. A rookie named Michael Jordan was about to change everything. Nike offered Jordan a deal in 1984. He initially didn't want it. He was an Adidas guy. His mother convinced him to take the meeting. Best parental advice in business history. The Air Jordan I launched in 1985. The NBA banned it. Said it violated uniform rules because of the colors. Nike paid Jordan's fines every single game he wore them, roughly $5,000 per game. And they announced that publicly. Are you kidding me? That's not a fine. That's free advertising. Every game Jordan played in banned shoes was a news story. Every news story sold more shoes. Kids didn't just want the shoes, they needed them. Jordan was transcendent on the court. Graceful, explosive, impossible to stop. And every time he flew toward the basket, he was wearing Nike. First year, Air Jordans generated $126 million in revenue. Jordan's cut was $500,000 per year plus royalties. He became a billionaire. Nike became untouchable. Then came 1988. The campaign nobody expected. Not about shoes, not about technology, not even about athletes. Just 3 words. Just do it. Simple to the point of being almost stupid. But it hit something real. The tagline wasn't selling a product. It was selling permission. Permission to try, to fail, to get back up, to run a 5,000 even if you're slow, to lift weights even if you're weak. It worked because it was honest. People didn't want to be sold specifications. They wanted to feel like the shoe was on their side. Nike's revenue more than doubled in the decade after that campaign launched. Competitors scrambled to catch up. They never quite did. The 90s brought global expansion. Nike moved into Europe, Asia, Latin America. They signed Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Thierry Henry. They bought Cole Haan, Converse, Umbro. They were everywhere. But success exposed ugly realities. Reports surfaced about labor conditions in overseas factories. Low wages, long hours, children working in some facilities. The backlash was brutal. Protests at stores. Nike was suddenly the villain in its own story. Knight eventually faced it directly. He admitted the company had not done enough. New codes of conduct, factory audits, wage improvements. It wasn't perfect, but it was movement. The brand survived because it adapted painfully, publicly, slowly. Bowerman died in 1999. He never stopped working on shoes. Right up until the end, he was sketching soles. Knight stepped down as CEO in 2004. He stayed on as chairman until 2016. The 2 men who started with $1,200 and a car full of Tiger sneakers had built a company employing 77,000 people, operating over 1,000 stores worldwide, generating $46 billion in revenue by 2025. The swoosh that nobody loved at first is now one of the most recognized symbols on Earth, more recognizable than most country flags. What started as an accounting professor's paper, a coach's garage experiments, and a handshake deal in Japan had become something neither of them could have fully imagined standing in that car park. Selling shoes out of a trunk.